Hey guys, it's Jenna Hartley. Welcome to Writer Wednesdays, a weekly chat with my author friends. It's a chance to get to know some of the writers behind your favorite stories, as well as hopefully discover some new authors. Today I'm super excited because we have KK Allen, and she's a USA Today best-selling and award-winning author in new adult and contemporary romance stories. She's a single mama and a full-time author who loves reading and writing steamy emotional romance. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited that you're doing this.
Absolutely. I have to admit, as I told you, that you are a new to me author, though I've seen your name floating around, and I recently read Center of Gravity, and I'm like obsessed with it. So I have to know, did you have to do a lot of research for the ballet aspects of that? Or I think maybe I read somewhere that you were a dancer. I'm curious here.
Yeah, so the reason I wanted to write Center of Gravity is because I grew up being a dancer. I danced a little bit professionally, like in college and after. So I've always loved it. It's right up there with writing for me. It's like one of my passions. It's just something I didn't end up pursuing. So I remember being in between books and I was going to actually write Through the Lens, which is the book that I am releasing this week. But this idea for Center of Gravity just came to me. And one of the reasons is because there aren't books out there like it with dancers that's so focused on dance. And I know that could kind of scare readers away, but the reason I wanted to do it is because I don't know, I think because it's so much embedded in me and it's one of my biggest passions, I wanted to share, that with everybody else. And the way that the story, I think, evolves, I think anyone could read it. You don't have to like dance.
For sure.
You don't have to even like sports romance. It's very much like a forbidden, type of romance if you're into that kind of thing, with like the angst and the I don't know, I really love like character growth in my books, and I think both of those characters really had to truly develop themselves in order to like be together and all of that. So it was just really fun. It was like a challenge in a way because I had to kind of break through a barrier, I think, because I just don't think it was very marketable really until I just found a way to do it. And I love that story. So thank you for reading it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've always been obsessed with like dance movies and shows, and it's like, I don't have the experience with it. So, for me, I feel like you authentically wrote what I would imagine for dance. And I think the fact that you had the experience really shone through, because the passion for it, where you could really identify with the characters, right?
Yeah, because when you think about writing dance, that's really hard. You see dance, but it's very hard to explain.
Yes.
And I have read some stories that have dance in them, but they're very brushed over.
Yeah.
As far as like describing the emotion that's involved in dance. Like it's storytelling.
Yes.
So yeah, so I just wanted to portray that. So thanks.
Yeah. So I have to ask, you've also written about football, correct? With your and stuff. So if you could choose to be a pro like football player or a professional dancer, what would you be?
Well, I would choose to be a dancer. But I love football. It's like I really hope there's football coming up because it's my favorite season.
Yeah.
And I especially love the Seahawks. And Under the Bleachers is the first football book that I wrote, and it takes place in Seattle, but I do not call them the Seahawks for many reasons.
Yes.
But yeah, so I would choose to be a dancer, but I would go to all the football games.
Maybe you could be a dancer at the games.
There you go. I wanted to do that.
Really?
I actually tried out for the Seattle Supersonics basketball team though. I tried out. I made it through, but I didn't make the final cut. So I was like,
awesome.
There's that dream.
Yeah, that's funny. My Nana, we live in Dallas, and she's a big Cowboys fan, and so I think her like lifelong aspirations for me was to be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader.
Oh, I think that would be so fun.
It would. It's just like I have no experience apart from like 6th and 7th grade cheerleading, which really, what kind of experience is that? So
it's fine.
It is, yeah. Anyways, but they have like a really cool stadium tour and stuff. So if you're ever in Dallas, you're
cool.
a Seahawks fan, but they have some really.
I used to live in Austin actually, and so I've been to Dallas for Turkey Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Seattle played Dallas, so I went there
Oh, nice.
to
Yeah.
the game. So I've been there, but no, I didn't know that I had that tour. That'd be
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, it is neat. So I was going to say you and your son are like super cute.
Oh,
And
thank
kind
you.
of ties into one of my books. There's actually a mom who is a single parent and owns her own business.
Oh,
And she's like determined to give her daughter the life she'd never had. And really
oh, I
her
love that.
struggle is like work-life balance. So I wondered like, how do you balance
Oh,
writing, working, parenting, especially as a single mom? I know I'm a mom, but I have a lot of
yeah.
support.
No, that's awesome. That gave me chills just hearing that. And it's actually funny. I've never written like a single mom book, but I could, if you have questions after this, I'm totally here. I'm always working on my balance. It's
Mhm.
the one thing I've always struggled with, and especially with him, because obviously he's my number one priority.
Mhm.
And like everything else I do is for him. Like
Mhm.
the reason I started writing is because I finally, had the strength in the workplace
Mhm.
to stand up for what came first. And one day I asked for a raise and I was denied. And I said, okay. And I went home and there was this book tucked away and I rewrote it within a few months and I released it.
Wow.
And that was my first book ever. And while it's not my greatest book ever, it showed me I could finish and publish a book,
Mhm.
and it showed me that I could get better because I wanted to, and I wanted to keep doing it. And I thought it was going to be the only book I ever published. And then it was like addicting and
Mhm.
it'll never stop. And I know that's one passion that I have in life that will never end.
Mhm.
Like there's never going to be a time I won't want to write,
Yes.
you know, I can say that confidently. So, but for the work-life balance, it's really just been about making sure he's always that top priority and being able to say no to certain things in my life and setting, because the moment I started setting those boundaries and sticking up for myself in the workplace, especially in the workplace, I was able to get the things that I needed.
Yeah.
Not always the things I want, but the things I needed. And it's been a slow grow
Mhm.
and it's slowly gotten better and I've slowly gotten that balance that I want. And it's always about sacrifice too. You got to sacrifice certain things. Like I ended up just quitting my job last August,
Mhm.
which was a huge leap for me,
Yes.
because I have to be financially independent in that way. And so I knew it was going to be a huge risk, but I knew I would be okay. I was finally in that place where, I have the qualifications if I ever need to go back to work. And I'm so passionate about this, I can't imagine it not working. But you never know, things happen. But yeah, as long as he's taken care of and he has a roof over his head, we're going to be okay.
I think that's
So
amazing. I mean, I'm being a mom, no matter what the circumstances, is a difficult job, challenging and rewarding. And I think I just have so much respect for like single parents. And I felt like, writing even one, it was an interesting challenge for me to try and imagine myself in those circumstances. And so I really admire, you for
thank
doing
you.
that, but also for sharing your experience. So,
Thank you.
and I think, it's also really important. It's hard to stand up for yourself in the workplace
Yeah.
to ask for the things you need. It's funny you're talking about that because I had sent my current book to my beta readers, and that's kind of one of the issues in there is that, the girl is kind of timid to even speak up for her ideas. And towards the end of the book, she's
Yeah.
really, you have to be your own advocate, right? So,
Yes, absolutely. You have to believe in yourself because, and I used to work for small businesses, and not to say anything negative or whatever, because I've learned so much in like every place that I've ever worked at. But I worked for small companies who really like, you're spread so thin that at the end of the day, like you really have to stand up for yourself, or you're just going to be working 24/7 for someone else. And I'm like, why am I putting all of my time and energy into somebody else's
right.
pocketbook?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this life has to serve me, so I need to start changing things.
Yeah.
So you're never going to lose your qualifications. So and I ended up, the last place that I worked was I probably could have worked there forever and been happy, just because they knew how to treat employees. Like they gave me what I needed, at the time that I needed it. But just knowing that you're in a place where people respect you and the life that you're living, and knowing that you're doing your best. Like that was like an amazing experience. So yeah.
Okay, so after some,
If you're lucky yeah.
yeah, if you're lucky.
I'm just saying, if you're lucky enough to have that, don't give it up.
Yeah. So after our more serious questions, are you ready to play kind of a silly game?
Yeah.
Okay, so the point of this game is to hold a conversation using only questions. So we take turns asking each other questions, and the first person to make a statement is out. So the questions don't have to make sense logically or even respond to each other. It's almost like Simon Says, how you don't want to be like the person who does it. I'm going to be terrible at
I already
this.
told you I'm going to lose. Okay.
Okay, so here we go. What are you doing today?
What'd you have for breakfast?
Do you like eggs?
Have you ever tried ketchup on your eggs?
Did you know that ketchup on eggs is gross?
Did you know that green eggs and ham is gross?
Did you know that I like bacon?
Why? Why do you like bacon?
Why do kids love to ask the question why?
Why is that such a great question?
Why do they like to ask things over and over?
Why did I break my ankle planting?
Why did you have to plant things?
This could go on forever.
I think we've actually proven that we're better
I
at
think we did good.
Yeah.
But that's hard because you want to answer everything that you hear.
It's really hard. I feel like if we put ourselves on a faster timer, we would have bombed it quicker, but I'm pretty good at this. So
yeah.
Yeah.
You have to think fast. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. So I'm totally coveting your office. And I saw you like, put up a picture recently and whatever. So I guess what was essential to you in like setting up your home office?
So before I had this big open space, it was kind of in the middle. It was actually a dining room, like in the middle of my house. And I really just wanted a little, I don't know, it needs to be a little bit private, you know, like I wouldn't need to shut the door or anything, but yeah, I just need it to be, I need storage for all of my things. I need shelves for all of my books, and I don't know, just a personal space that I can like go to and that, you know, that I can make mine. I didn't have that before, so I'm really happy with my setup now. But I've always wanted a bookshelf ladder like you have. Same thing. You see it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's always been my dream. So I just made it happen. It was one of those purchases where I was like, I don't need to do this. I don't need to do this. And it kind of sat with me for a long time. And finally I was just like, okay, I'm going to do this. So there you go. It was worth it.
We have an awesome giveaway today, right? What is the prize that you have?
Yeah. So this book, Through the Lens, which is a standalone in an interconnected series, is called, it's Through the Lens. I already said that. I'm going to give a signed paperback away to whoever follows us.
Yeah, they have to follow you and me on Instagram and comment on this post just saying that they did it. So
awesome. So it's Enemies to Lovers, because I love that. And he is a chef, and she is an ex-model who like moves to the big city. So this series takes place in Seattle. And so yeah, they hate each other from the get-go just because of a connection that they have with one of their family members. So
ooh, sounds like
see how that plays out.
Well, that sounds awesome. I can't wait to read it when it releases soon. And like she said, you can win the signed paperback by following both of us on Instagram and commenting on this post. Tell us done, give us a high five, or maybe even ask a question. So thank you so much for joining me today. And before we go, I have to ask what 3 things you're grateful for. For people who have read my book, Unexpected, which is actually the single mom romance. She's with a nanny. She ends up with a younger nanny. They might remember that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of a reverse age gap. So the nanny Preston, Manny, whatever, they always kind of debate it, asks the little girl Sophia that he watches every night what 3 things she's grateful for that day. And so I wanted to ask what you are grateful for today.
I love that. Obviously, my son, I feel like he made me grow up as a person like a million times faster, than I had before he was born. And just the fact that, I just feel very blessed with like the support that I have like with my family and stuff. So very grateful for them, and just the fact that I can do this job, I can write for a living, and people are reading my books. That's like dream come true. So
Yes.
pretty big one.
Well, thank you so much for joining me and to,
No,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say thank you for having me. This was really fun.
It was, I feel like because of all
Easy,
the distancing, it's like, wow, I have a social life actually talking to people on
right?
the phone. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, thank you to everyone for watching, and be sure to enter the giveaway by following both of us on Instagram, commenting on this video. You can find links to KK Allen's books on her Instagram bio, and be sure to sign up for her newsletter to get a free book, Falling from Gravity, which is awesome. Until next week, this is Jenna Hartley. Cheers to love, laughter, and happily ever afters.